everybody, it's the Warhipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial, and today we're painting an Ork. Yes, we're painting an Ork Big Mek. This is one of the newer, redesigned Orks that's happened over the last few years, and I'm painting this up for one of my Patreons today, so we're going to jump in and we're going to start doing it. He has been primed in Wraithbone, and the colour we're going to be using first is Gutrippa Flesh. And we're going to be applying this over top of all of our Big Mek skin. I'm just going to start right here, not quite going up onto the full part of the neck. This way we can still tackle the model in sections rather than trying to kind of do it all in a bit of a rush. Just take our time. Go bit by bit, and once that's all done, we'll come back. So with all that Gutrippa Flesh applied and dry, what we're going to do now is we're going to take some Biel-Tan Green. We're going to apply this over top. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to very quickly take some Agrax Earthshade, and we're going to apply this over what little of his trousers you can see. So with that all done, we're then going to take some Snakebite Leather, and we're going to apply this over the top of the rest of the leather details, including his apron. And so with that all done, we're now going to apply probably the majority colour here, which is going to be some Black Legion. And we're going to be applying this over things like the boots, most of kind of like his armour, and some of the like sort of connection and heavy kind of machinery plates and stuff like that. There is a lot of this, so I'd recommend having the box art open in front of you in order to do this. This will probably take you a little while because there is so many black details here. So the best thing to do is, as always, just take it nice and steady, go a section at a time, and then once it's all applied, we'll come back. So with all of that Black Legion applied, as you can see, it is a lot of Black Legion. I wasn't lying. But what we're going to do next is we're going to take some Flesh Tearers Red, and we're going to apply this over top of, again, all of the red details, and there's quite a few varied ones here. There's stuff like the sort of tooth plates, like that one, just there. There's the majority of the long cables as well. A couple of little odd plates here and there that are red, like this one. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Skeleton Horde. We're going to apply this over top of the skull back here. And so with that all done, for all of our remaining kind of smooth cables, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Imperial Fist. I'm going to apply this over the top. And so with that all done, we're then going to take some Cygor Brown. And we're going to apply this over top of this little bit of string wrapped around his wrist in here. But what we're also going to do is we're going to apply this over top of the belt that we've already done the Snakebite Leather over the top of. And so with that now done, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Black Templar. And we're going to apply this over top of this sort of battery pack up here. So with that all done, what we're now going to do, we're going to take some thinned down Iron Warriors. And we're going to apply this over top of all of our remaining details. Now we are going to add in some, a lot more variation, but for now we're just going to get this over the top so we've got a nice strong base coat to work from in terms of getting our other metallics on there, and indeed some more contrast paints. So with all that Iron Warriors applied, what we're now going to do is on these orbs on the back here, we're going to take some thinned down Thunderhawk Blue. And we're just going to apply this over top. So with that Thunderhawk Blue all applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Hashut Copper. And we're going to apply this over top of all of the sort of warmer metallics that we can see. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the balls on the end of the big shock attack gun, which is what I think it is. Like this. But what we also have is we have things like the cables such as this one here. And that sort of thing. We've got the kind of battery pack here on the gun, and so on and so forth. And with that Hashut Copper all applied, we're then going to take some Guilliman Flesh, and we're going to apply this over the top of his bottom lip. And what we're going to do is we're also going to use this around anywhere where there's a bit of kind of scarring or an implant. So, for example, just in here, use a bit of Guilliman Flesh there and there. And around that one there. And then, once you've got it on, wash the brush, get rid of the water, and just wick off the excess that you don't want. And seeing as we're still waiting for that Hashut Copper to dry, we're going to take a little bit of Black Templar and we're going to apply this over top of his fingernails. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is take two colours, Gryph-Hound Orange and Flesh Terror's Red, and we're using these to do a kind of bit of mixing and blending here on the weapon. So what we're going to do is start with some Gryph-Hound Orange, and we're going to apply this over the top of the sort of bits on the end, like that, and then we're going to bring it down onto the silver. Like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to wash the brush, grab some Flesh Tearers Red, and then we're going to apply this over the top of that kind of central bit, whilst also just pulling in some of that Gryph-Hound Orange. Like that sort of thing. And then we wash the brush, grab some more Gryph-Hound Orange, a little bit more than that. And we're going to use this to kind of just take some of the excess Flesh Tearers Red off and sort of blend it just a little bit. Just like that. Then, for the other diodes, we're just going to take some Gryph-Hound Orange. Apply this over the top. And so with that now done to the gun, we're going to take some Nuln Oil. And we're going to apply a lot of this. So we're going to be applying this over the top of all of the black, and we're going to apply this over the top of all of our Flesh Tearers Red as well. With that all done, we're then going to take some Reikland Fleshshade, and we're going to apply this over top of the inside of our apron, so just here, like so. We've got a couple of little tears and things in it that we're also going to apply this in. However, what we're also going to do with the Reikland Fleshshade is we're going to apply this over top of all of our Hashut Copper. And so with that all done, we're then going to take some Agrax Earthshade. I'm going to use this to shade all the silver. So with that all done, our Big Mek is now what I would call a Warhipster battle ready. He's looking pretty good. However, we're of course going to take him to the next level, and we're going to do this by adding some highlights. Now the first of these is going to be a dry brush, and it's kind of going to be a sort of obvious details dry brush, as well as a bit of a weathering dry brush that's going to happen. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some Ironbreaker, and we're going to use this to dry brush all of the really easily accessible silver details. But what we're also going to do is we're going to use this to hit some of the edges of the black and the red as well. So we're just going to, for example, there on that drill, nice and simple. And we've got another one sort of just here, got the handle of this weapon. I'm going to be dry brushing this Ironbreaker all over. Not sure if I've actually said that it's Ironbreaker, but it is Ironbreaker. So we're just going to start doing this just like this sort of thing. It's going to give all of that sort of obvious large silver quite a nice beaten look. However, as mentioned, we're also just going to be hitting some of the black details. So for example, the black details around the feet, you can just fully dry brush these with the silver to give it a really sort of heavy black metal kind of vibe without kind of line highlighting it all. And same for like that red detail there, we can just hit the corner. And hit this edge. But don't worry about getting all of the silver details, because any of the kind of really congested ones, we're going to hit them with a highlight a little bit later. But this is just going to save an awful lot of time and really add to the effect of all that heavy machinery. So with that Ironbreaker dry brush all applied all the way around, as you can see, we've now got some really nice heavy industrial metals going on here. But what we're going to do now is we're going to move on and we're going to actually apply some line highlights. So first of these are going to be some thinned down Skarsnik Green. I'm going to use this to highlight his skin. So with that Skarsnik Green all applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Deepkin Flesh. I'm going to use this to add some little spot highlights to the sharpest little corners in all of his skin. So with that Deepkin Flesh all applied, we then take a tiny little bit of Flayed One Flesh. I'm going to use this to highlight the scarring and the sort of Guilliman fleshy bits. Just like that. And so with that Flayed One Flesh all applied, what we then do is we take a teensy tiny little bit of Evil Sunz Scarlet. I'm going to apply this over top of his eyeball. Just like that sort of thing. However, what we're also going to do with the Evil Sunz Scarlet is we're going to use this to now highlight all the red in the areas where we haven't hit it with any of the Ironbreaker. So with that all done, we're now going to take some thinned down Fire Dragon Bright. And we're going to use this to add some little spot highlights to that red. Like that sort of thing. However, what we're also going to do here is we're going to use this to highlight the sort of edge just here on the gun. Like that. And then inside the little vents we're going to kind of just fill them up with the Fire Dragon Bright. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Karak Stone. I'm going to use this to highlight all the leather. And so with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Dawnstone. We're going to use this to highlight the black details in the same way that we did with the red. So we're just going to be looking for areas in the black that kind of just haven't got any silver highlights on them. So for example, there's a little bit of battle damage right there on the leg. And so with that all done, similarly to the red, we're going to take some thinned down Administratum Grey. I'm going to use this to add some little spot highlights to the sharpest points in our black details. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Fenrisian Grey, and we're going to use this to paint in some little lightning on our balls. And so with that all done, we're now going to take some thinned down Corax White. I'm going to use this to do 3 different things. The first of these is to highlight this little lightning bolt up here on the battery. Just like that sort of thing. The other is on our lightning bolts, to add just tiny little dots where the lightning intersects with one another. That one's a little bit heavy, so I'm just going to wash the brush there. Get rid of the water. And just get in and just wipe that off. There we go, perfect. But the other thing that we're going to do with the Corax White is we are going to do the little checkerboard effects that you can see. So, for example, on this little panel just here, what we want to do is we want to draw a little line of Corax White coming down like that. Then another one. Just there like that. Then we want to draw one going across. Like so. And then another one going across. Like that, and then we're just going to block in the squares that we want. So with that all done, as you can see, we've done a checkerboard over the top of the shoulder as well. So what we're going to do now is we're going to use some Black Legion. And we're going to use this to do some hazard striping on all of our yellow cables. And so with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Runelord Brass. We're going to use this to highlight all the copper. And with that Runelord Brass all applied, we are then going to take some thinned down Ironbreaker. And we are now going to use this to effectively spot highlight all the silver details, because we've done that dry brush before. But this is where we can create some real kind of bright metallics by just doing the edge highlight. So for example, on these tools where we couldn't really get at it with the dry brush without getting silver all over the leather, we're going to highlight those. Same thing goes for this little bit of hip trim, the details around his face and head and stuff like that. But ultimately you can do as much or as little of this as you like. you could do things like on this little piston here, highlight the sort of receiver, but like fully colour in the plunger. There's a full guess as to whether or not those are the names of the components of a piston. And so with that all done, to finish off our Big Mek, we're going to take a little bit of Blood Angel's Red. I'm going to apply this over the two lenses on the model, one of which is right here over the eye, and the other is just there on the gun. And there we have it, with our base now complete. Our Ork Big Mek is now finished, and well, I really enjoyed this. I thought it was really kind of intimidating at first because it's quite a big chunky model, but actually it's not that bad once you start sort of getting into the weeds of it. Once you break up those colours, it's actually a pretty simple model, and it's really fun to do, and I am really pleased with how that gun has come out. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel, and you'd like to support me further, you absolutely can do so by heading to patreon.com/warhipster, just like all of these wonderful amazing people have done. And alternatively, you could become a YouTube channel member by clicking on the join button below, exactly like these fabulous folks have done scrolling up on the screen before you. There are so many of you out there that it really takes my breath away, and I cannot thank you enough for everything you do, as without you I wouldn't be able to keep making these Contrast Plus videos. And if you really like this video and you want to send me a little thanks, just click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.